So I think you were using a Vision Fitness when you said something, and then I was like inspired by it, and I went and I got one, and I love it. And it's finally the end of I didn't know a lot about treadmills, and I had bought one, and I was really disappointed with it because it was too narrow. Because I kind of have a wide gait, you know what I mean? And I feel like I need, sometimes it would trip me up a little bit. I'm a big guy. I'm almost 6'2", so
Really? Oh
yeah.
God, I'm a shrimp up next to you. I'm 5'8" and a half, 5'9", whatever. It depends on the humidity, you know.
Oh yeah, yeah. You swell up a little bit.
Wrong way too. Yeah.
That's great. Depend. It's not dependent on the time of the month. It's just depend.
Hey, listen, I get a little end of the month. I get a little
uh,
irritable. It's nothing to be ashamed about.
yeah. Hey, it happens to the best of us. All of us. Everybody and every woman knows that every man has that issue too, right? So, at least I think I think so. It's
I
good
don't.
to see everybody here.
Listen, I'm married. I don't know a thing about women or sex, man.
You know, all I know is that I don't know, and I'll probably never will. And I've come to terms with it, and so things have smoothed out. Well, we're role playing today, everybody. Welcome to Wednesday role play, and we always like to have a good time, a joyous time, and have fun with one another. And we like to talk about topics about sales. We like to role play you in the field, right? So whatever you're doing in the field, whether maybe you're talking to a homeowner or a tenant buyer, or you're talking to someone else, maybe a different kind of sales altogether, that would be perfectly fine. The gut sales system is interchangeable with any industry, any product or service. So I I'm not saying I've mastered that at every product or service. It does help to have product knowledge, but it is interchangeable as far as the system goes. I can plug and play most things right now if I just make up the product knowledge. If I can do that, I'm pretty good at pitching just about anything nowadays. And that's I have to give credit to Uncle Claude and his gut sales system. So on Wednesdays every week we role play and we switch hosts every week. But this is my week. I do the second Wednesday of every month, and so I'm glad you guys are here. We do live stream it on my channel on YouTube, so there are quite a few people that do catch the replays that aren't here. Thank you for watching too. But we're here to role play today. So let's role play. Nana is new to this, she says, and she's in the room here with us, and she's working on a subject to deals, getting subject to deals. She said she's already gotten one, and she would like to get another and keep them as rentals. And so let's start role playing a little bit of that. I know Nana is working out a microphone issue, and so she can't join in from Las Vegas. She is here in the room with us, but um, maybe she'll benefit from some role play, and it would do us some good to role play subject to. Now, who in the room here feels confident enough to role play subject to right now? Anybody? Okay. Okay, that's okay. So let me ask this question. Can anybody explain to me what is a subject to?
Doesn't that come right after subject one?
It is. It is correct. That is correct. Judges will accept that answer.
And before subject three.
Yes, that is also correct. Now, for the bonus point, anybody know the answer I was looking for? The definition of a subject to.
Takeover payments.
Yeah, to take over the homeowner's payments. Okay, so in a subject to, when you buy a property subject to, you're buying the property, acquiring ownership of the property while taking over the existing mortgage that stays in the homeowner's name. Okay. So in this scenario, you would assume responsibility for making the homeowner's mortgage payment on their behalf while becoming the legal owner of the property. Okay. So essentially, subject to the terms and conditions of the existing mortgage is what it means. Okay. Great, great, great. Now, now that we have cleared the fog on what it means, what does it mean? Right? How does it play out in the real world? Can somebody give me an example of a subject to? And then we'll role play what it means to talk about a subject to with a homeowner. Can anybody give me a real world example? Just give me a base example of the house costs 100,000. There's a mortgage on it of, okay. Claude sent a little note here, said subject to is a condition in a contractual arrangement that is precedent to the agreement becoming, and I have to click chat here, sorry,
Becoming whole,
becoming whole.
becoming complete.
Okay. Exact. So yes. So in other words, with this definition, the condition in the contractual agreement between the investor and the homeowner is that the investor will continue making that homeowner's mortgage payment. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's
Yep.
it can be many different things. It doesn't just have to be finance, although that's what that's usually what you mean, what people mean. But it can be any condition that says, well, in order, to make this a complete contract, you're going to hold the mortgage. You're going to accept 8% interest. You're going to do a lease purchase. It can be subject to an inspection of the property before we consummate the closing. It can be a lot of different things. It's the proverbial escape clause, which we always should have an escape clause, right?
Yes. A get out of jail free card is what I like to call it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Some people call it that. Some people call it the ejection seat. If I need to eject, like from an airplane, for example. Well, here's what it looks like in the world normally. Let's take a house that has a value of 300,000. Okay, I'm just going to write it down here real quick so you can kind of follow along with me. They have a mortgage on the property still of 200,000 that they owe to Republica Mortgage Company. I just made that up. Okay. So they have $100,000 in equity then, right? That's $100,000 in equity that they have. EQ. So let's say, for example, you come along, Mr. Investor. I'm working for my little LLC over here, right? Mo2 LLC. And I talk to the homeowner and I take over the property subject to the existing mortgage, meaning that I'm agreeing to make the mortgage payment. I'm not assuming personal liability for the loan, but I'm going to make the mortgage payment for them. And I'm going to go ahead and take ownership of the house now up front. A lot of times this happens right at the close, right? Okay, maybe folks don't understand this. It can close at a title company and it should. But when you go and you're talking to a motivated homeowner about a subject to, and you get that purchase and sale agreement out, you oftentimes will get a quick claim deed out at the same time and have them sign it and have it notarized right then and there and take the property over right there. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. So maybe just think about that. But they've got $100,000 worth of equity. You're as an investor, if this is a motivated homeowner, they're really hurting. I'm not going to wait to get this $100,000. I'm going to go ahead and tie that up with a quick claim deed tonight. And I'm going to have it notarized. Okay, that's my point. All right, so I'm going to do my due diligence after that, and then I'm going to record it. Okay. Does that make sense? All right. Okay. So I'm assuming now I'm telling the homeowner that I'm going to go ahead and continue making the payments on this 200,000 right here. But I'm also telling the homeowner, hey, I'm going to take over the property. I'm going to keep ownership of it myself, continue making your mortgage payment. And then usually up front, in order to make the deal work, because he has $100,000 in equity, you have to give him some down payment money. Okay. Does that make sense? Because he's like, well, I've got $100,000 in equity. I mean, I need moving money at least. Okay. You're going to give him something. Usually. You might find a deal where you're just going to go in and just get it all. Okay. But you don't have to just go get it all. A lot of times you share it with that homeowner. Okay. You're sharing this equity a little bit because they're going to be out. All right. So that's kind of a real world example, explanation. And so let's talk about what it means to talk to a homeowner. This is Role Play Wednesday. So let's talk about what it means to bring up a conversation with a homeowner about subject 2. What would we have to ask a homeowner in order to talk about subject 2? Does anybody know?
Would you sell me for what you owe?
Okay, let's put this into an actual role play. I'm going to be the homeowner and you're going to be the caller, the investor guy, and you're going to say that, okay? But let me set it up first as the homeowner. Mr. Caller, let me just explain to you where me and my family are with this house. We are really done with this property. We need to move. We're going to move. I don't care what happens to the house. If you want it, you can have it. Burn it down. I don't care. I'm leaving by the end of the month. Okay, so if you want to make an offer to buy the house, fine. I'm just telling you, if this is any hassle to me, I'm out. Okay, does that make sense, Joe?
Oh, yeah, sounds good to me.
Okay. So how are you going to bring up subject 2?
What do you think your house is worth today?
I don't know. I don't care. I don't know. I mean, you want to buy it, you make an offer.
Do you still have a mortgage on the house?
I do have a mortgage, yes.
And so what you are planning to do with this mortgage? Just give it up?
I'm planning on just walking away. I mean, I don't really care what's happening with this property. It's really going to be taken by the bank here before long anyway. So,
you know what? I made a decision. I'm going to help you out. I'm going to take over your mortgage payment and pay it for you. It would save your credit. It would say whatever it would say for you. Would it work for you?
Okay. See, I like where he's coming with this. Okay. I like where he's coming with this. He's getting really close to it. He's dancing on it, right? He's right there on the edge. And there's a clue here in my back office. It's a t-shirt. I take over house payments. And I know it's real small because we got so many people in the room, but I take over house payments. So you're going to start a conversation about taking over this guy's house payment. And that's where you went, Joe. And I commend you for it. Good job. Good job. Smart guy. All right. Now I've got a pre-programmed canned message. All right. Now, and this is a question that's always in the back of my head, and I'm ready to come out with it anytime I hear a desperate homeowner that's in foreclosure or something. Okay. Or they're in pre-foreclosure, you know what I'm saying? So not the bank. I'm not talking to the bank owner. I'm just talking to homeowners that are really motivated here. Okay. They're ready to walk away from a property, or maybe they're financially can't afford a property anymore and it's kind of getting in default. Okay. Now I've got to bring up this I take over house payments idea. How do I do it in a subject 2 way? So I've got a pre-canned answer for that, and I always am ready to spit this out. And here's what it is. Mr. Homeowner, if I were to take the house off your hands, allowing you to walk away, would you allow me to continue making your mortgage payment for you starting now?
I will be glad if you will do it.
Yeah, right. Okay. So that's a pre-programmed answer, or a question really, to try to propose to a homeowner to see if a subject 2 fits. Okay. Mr. Homeowner, if I were to take the house off your hands, I'm talking about getting ownership of the property. Mr. Homeowner, if I were to take the house off your hands, it's important to say this, because if you don't say this and you just say, Mr. Homeowner, if I take over your mortgage payment, would you let me do that? He's going to say, yes, absolutely. What a blessing you are. I've been praying God would send someone to pay my rent for me. Okay. It's not going to, that's not the right question. So you want to say, Mr. Homeowner, if I were to take the house off your hands and let you walk away. All right. Cause that's what you're in it for. Right. So you want to be clear about this. Mr. Homeowner, if I were to take the house off your hands and allow you to walk away today, would you allow me to continue making Mr. Homeowner, would you allow me to catch up your mortgage payments and continue making them? Okay. You might have to say it like that. Mr. Homeowner, if I were to take the house off your hands, allowing you to walk away, would you allow me to catch up those mortgage payments and make them for you every month until we can pay the house off? Sometimes you might add that, or you might say until we get you financed out. If you have a balloon in mind of getting them financed out in an X amount of years, if you just want to let it ride, you don't want to put that in there. Okay, but you have an option of adding a time modifier here. So this is, I just recommend it if you want to play around in the subject to world. And Nana, I love your baby. I just want to talk to you and your baby right now. And I know you just left the room, but so tell us about your baby. Can we hear you? We're still not hearing you. Okay, well, we love babies around here. So anyway, thanks for bringing your baby. We do love babies. I love babies. You know, babies are awesome. They really are. And the world's kind of hard on babies. And I think that's unfair. But babies are really cool. So that's a subject to question. Let's do it one more time. Mr. Homeowner, if I were to take the house off your hands, okay, I want you to try to commit. I'm going over it and over it and over because I want you to kind of commit it to memory a little and make it yours. Because if you can commit it to memory and make it yours, then you're going to be able to pitch subject to yourself. Okay. So, Mr. Homeowner, if I were to take the house off your hands, allow you to walk away today, would you allow me to catch up your mortgage payments, make your mortgage payments until we get the house paid off and get it off your credit? I don't know. It's a heck of a good offer if you think about it. All right. Especially if I'm a needy homeowner. So let's role play that again. Okay. I'll be the homeowner, and Joe, you want to be the caller this time, Joe?
Yeah.
And let's hit it again, and I'll be the homeowner, and I'm going to be a 10.
Okay.
Okay. When I say a 10, I mean on a scale of motivation, 1 through 10, like I am the most motivated homeowner there is. Okay. Which, by the way, everybody, is probably the most dangerous homeowner there is, because if you don't handle me right, I'm just going to tell you to buzz off because I don't care anymore. I'm the most motivated walking away from the house kind of guy there is. Okay, ring, ring. Hello, this is Justin. I'm the owner of ABC Apple Cart Way, and you've been texting me, Joe. How can I help you?
Yes, hi. Okay, text. Did you understand my text? What I
did.
was trying to tell you?
Yeah, you were saying something about being able to make my, really, can I just tell you what's happening with this house? Like, I think you should know, because if you want to make an offer on it, you just make an offer on it because you're an investor, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay, great. Then you just, if you want to buy it, that's fine. I'll sell it to you because me and my family, we're done with this house. Okay. We're behind right now. We're behind about eight payments. And so we're done, and we're moving at the end of this month. We're going to move in with my wife's family over in Montana. And we've already got it worked out. I've got a little job over there. I'm on a ranch where I'm going to be working with horses, and I love that. So we're just we're just done with this, and I don't care what happens to this house. If you want it, you can have it. I'm not trying to make money on it. I just want out of it. I'm leaving. Does that make sense, Joe? And
Oh, yes.
maybe that doesn't fit you.
No, it does. It does. Let me ask you, how much your mortgage payments? You mentioned 8 months behind.
Yeah, I have a $1,700 a month mortgage payment, and that's with the taxes and insurance escrowed in.
Okay. If I'll take this house out of your hands and you can go to Montana with your horses whenever you want, will you allow me to make up your mortgage payments behind what is in arrears and continue to pay your mortgage payments? Meantime, I'm going to be the owner of the house.
Okay, so you're going to take the house over, and you're going to take on my payment, get them caught up, and make my payment until
Until
what?
until it's paid, unless you want something different. When we arrange financing for that or something like that, I don't know. Does it really matter to you? How long would it be?
That's a great question, Joe. Joe is, by the way, timeout. Let's just pause here because we've completed the role play successfully. I mean, Joe really did a great job there, didn't he? I think he did a good job. Round of applause. Joe, you hit the solid points there, man, and you did it strong. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to get people's comments about it. Tim, John, anybody? Rob just popped in the room. It's good to see you. Lee just popped in the room. It's good to see you. Rico popped in the room. It's good to see you. We've got Nana back in the room again. It's great to see you. I hope we can hear you again because I'd love to hear from you.
Can you guys hear me now?
Oh my goodness, we can.
Okay.
How are
I'll
you?
go really fast because if you don't mind, because he needs to sleep. But I just I did a deal with my husband and I. We had a friend, so I've been kind of interested in subject to for a while, and then we had a friend who we're from Ghana, and he moved back to Ghana, kind of separated from his wife, and so he was trying to sell his house, and we noticed that it had been on the market for like 3 or 4 months. And I had told my husband about the whole subject to thing, and so he just reached out to him, spoke to him initially, and he just wanted too much, and it just kind of didn't work. And then, like, I think a month or so later, it was actually the month I think I gave birth, he came back and he was like, you know what, let's work on this. We paid a lot, so I don't think it was the best subject to deal, but we are now renting it out Section 8, and so cash flow wise, it's making around $1,400 a month because he bought this. Yeah, he bought this property in 2020, so his interest rate is like 2%. Yeah, and it's a 5-bedroom. So, or it was a 4-bedroom, and we converted it to a 5-bedroom so we could get more from Section 8. Yeah,
Wow.
we paid a good amount of his equity, so that's where I'm like, I don't know if it was like the most efficient.
Well, no, I mean, well, I don't know how much you invested, and you don't have to tell me, but to invest an X amount of dollars to get that type of monthly return on investment, I mean, could you get that kind of return anywhere else for that money?
I don't think so. So
I
what
don't
we
think
did,
so either,
yeah,
probably.
I'm happy with it, especially because the
Yeah.
monthly Section 8 finally started paying us.
Yeah,
that took a
and
little
that's a
while.
regular promised money every month, right?
Yes, yeah. So we would like to do more of these deals, but without having to put out so much of the cash that we did.
Right. I understand. I
Mhm.
understand. That's great. What a great story, Nana. Thank you for sharing that. And what a
Yeah.
beautiful young baby you have.
Thank you. Yeah.
Love babies. That's beautiful.
Hey,
There needs to be
Justin,
more babies.
can I jump in, chime
Yeah,
in?
Lee, please do.
Hey, sorry, a little bit late to the role play. Had some other stuff had to deal with this morning. But when you were doing the role play of someone who's motivated, walking away, 7 payments behind, the whole thing, there's a couple of things that I would just want to comment on coming from experience that may or may not help anybody in the group when they have these kind of conversations, is that you have to make abundantly clear that the paperwork is coming to the seller. So if we were to redo that role play and you said, you were done, you're 7 payments behind, what he did was great, was, getting permission to do all that. And I would think the one step that I would include is having the emotional conversation along with that permission conversation right then and there. And it comes from doing a lot of short sales and loan mods and properties that may or may not have worked out in a short sale. So for instance, in that, when you ask permission, you could take over the house payments. I would ask the permission of this. Hey, look, Justin, I understand we can get all this done. And believe me, going to Montana and, working on a horse ranch sounds kind of good. In fact, I'd love to jump in the car and go with you because
I'm getting out of here by the end of the month, but yeah.
Well,
let's role play, Lee. I'm out of here
all
by
right.
the end of the month, Lee.
Okay. Well, Justin, I totally understand. And it sounds like despite all of the things that have gone wrong, sounds like Montana with working with the horses might be great. And it could be, one of those things that's a blessing in disguise. And I understand where you're coming from. And I've dealt in this situation before. And I understand, bad things happen to good people. So we've already discussed being able to take over the payments. But Justin, what I'd really like to get your permission on is to be able to send you a packet of paperwork that is going to have to be signed. And I want to cover this because this is very emotional. And it's great to talk about it. But when it comes down to signing the paperwork, sometimes there's a lot of emotion that comes up, especially when your life is being uprooted. I know you've been through a lot over the last 7 to 12 months, it sounds like, but there's a few more things that we're going to have to do. They're going to be very emotional. And there's a packet of paperwork that I'm going to send over that I'd like you and your wife to review. I'd rather get on a call and review it with you at the same time as you go through, answer all your questions, because at the end of the day, you will be signing over the house. It'll be in good hands. We'll take, good care of it. And we'll make sure that your credit's protected by making those payments. And at the end of the day, you're going to be walking away, but I want you to understand you're going to be walking away with everything taken care of. We're going to tie up all the loose ends. We're going to make sure that your lender is taken care of and everything is good to go. So can I get your permission to send over that paperwork and review it? If you have any questions, please let's jump on a call and cover those, because when it comes down to doing all the paperwork, I've found in the past, there can be some hard emotions. And I know that you don't care about what happens and any money that comes from the house because we're going to make up the payments. I just want to make sure that you're still good with that when it comes time to send this paperwork to the bank and get this taken care of. Is that fair?
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm ready to do some paperwork. That's a good point too. Time out on the role play. That's a good point, Lee, and about getting to the paperwork, because the paperwork is the point, right? In every real estate transaction, let's just be real, right? The real estate transaction, the most important goal is the paperwork getting all done and signed, the contracts closed and all this stuff, right? So you got to get paperwork. So let's talk about paperwork real quick. What are we going to have? We're going to have a purchase and sale agreement. Okay, I'm just saying typically, okay? We're going to have a disclosure typically that says, hey, you are aware we're taking over your house and we're going to be making your mortgage payment for you. And they could call the note due. Okay. And then there's a borrower's authorization form. Okay. What does that do? Does anybody know? Why would you need one of those maybe? And what does it do? Tim John?
Allow you to talk to the bank or any other lenders or people responsible.
Yeah, so you can make the payments and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, and check the balances and stuff. And yeah, exactly. And then remember I said earlier, especially if it's a local deal, you want to get a quick claim deed out right away and get a mobile notary. Good idea. If I'm desperately walking away from this property and I'm ready to get it off my back, and Lee calls me and says, "Hey," Joe calls me and says, "Hey, I'm taking it over. If you'll let me take it over, I'll take over the house tonight. I'll get it off your back and I'll catch up those mortgage payments. Here's my contract that says that I'll do that, and here's the quit claim deed. Let's close right now." Why do we need to wait for a title company? Now, I don't recommend that you go file or record that necessarily immediately. You might want to do a little bit of due diligence, but you should consider, if you can get a quick claim deed signed, you should go ahead and do that. This guy's walking away, get it. Right? You can not record it later. You can record it later. It's up to you. So a quick claim deed is a good idea. But that's all. That's the paperwork. All right. So I've got paperwork that I give away for free. It's real basic set of paperwork. This should close at a title company. Not every title company does subject twos anymore either. Okay. But you're going to want to do, you're going to want to get that, even if you close at it, if I have intentions of closing at a title company, you're going to want to go ahead and get that quit claim deed signed at the kitchen table if you can. Can anybody tell me why? Tell me why I say at the kitchen table if you can. Go ahead and get that quit claim deed and get it notarized right then and there. Explain to me why I say that, somebody, so I make sure I'm clear.
Because homeowners disappear sometimes.
Okay.
Well, how about making up 7 house payments and then the homeowner comes back in and wants to take the house back or doesn't move
Right.
after you've made the payments?
There's that. Yeah. There's all of those reasons. Yeah. And so, if this guy's walking away, I'm going to get ownership of this property. Why do I need to wait for a title company? I don't. And sometimes we forget about things like this. You have, as an investor, the ability to just have that homeowner sign a quit claim deed, have it notarized. Now, yes, it's not a warranty deed. It's not warranted. It's not guaranteed in any way that it's free and clear or anything. But they have relinquished their ownership of their role in the ownership to you at that point. And the minute you recorded it becomes official. Okay. Maybe you want to do that through a title company and so on and so forth. Okay. But initially, all right. So let's talk about the purchase and sale agreement here real quick too, since we're on this, and we're kind of going into a little class today on sub 2. I didn't really know we were going to do that, but that's cool. So let's talk about the purchase and sale agreement. How is it different than any other purchase and sale agreement? Is there anything different about it? What do we do differently? Can someone tell me? Because I know what a purchase and sale agreement is. Hell, I've got 11 of them and they're all different. Every coach, every guru, every YouTube channel, everybody I've ever subscribed to's got one, and it's different, but they're all basically kind of the same. How is the subject to special or different in some way? Someone tell me.
It has existing loan, taken over existing loan amount.
Yeah, in the purchase amount, right? So here you go. Here's a copy of one I give away. Not the turtle purchase price, because no one's buying turtles, but the total purchase price. In consideration, the buyer agrees to purchase the above described property for the sum of approximately, this is 200,000. Maybe it's the loan balance, as we don't know exactly, but it's approximately 200,000. Payable as follows: subject to existing loan, Republica Mortgage Company of New Jersey, 1000 Republica Avenue, mortgage account number XGV75R14. Mortgage commenced on the day they started it. Do you remember what day you bought the house, sir? June, you thought it was June 13th of 2018? Okay, I'm going to put that there.
So it's not today's date.
Not today's date. Oh, wait a minute. I say today's date, don't I? Right here
Yeah.
on the contract.
Yeah, so
Okay.
this,
Yeah, so this is wrong. So this is actually, I'm going to change it right now because I don't know why it says that. Because it should say start date. Let's make it even more clear. Started on, there you go. Started on start date. So really, besides that, there's nothing different about this purchase and sale agreement. It's exactly like every other purchase and sale agreement you've ever seen. Instead of just having a total purchase price blank dollars, it's got this word, this verbiage in it. Subject to existing loan, and then, Bank of America, 1000 New York Avenue, New York, approximate loan balance. Why am I putting the address in there? Because there might be more than one Bank of America. And I want to make sure we're clear about which one we're talking about. All right, how do we find all this information? It's on the homeowner's mortgage account statement somewhere on some of that, something online or somewhere. And all of this information is. And the approximate balances and everything. So you might have to say, Mr. Homeowner, in order to fill this out, it really is helpful if you've got access to some kind of a statement for mortgage, so we can see what the balances are and your arrears and everything. Okay. And then you're going to fill in the blanks. So not too hard to do a subject to once we demystify it a little bit. We have a little bit of paperwork. Okay. And you can do a subject to tonight. That's absolutely right. Did you know that you didn't maybe think about it in these terms, but now you should, that in this business, when you run across a motivated homeowner like this, like the 10 that I have been in this role play today, you can move right from the question, Mr. Homeowner, if I were to take the house off your hands, let you walk away, catch up your mortgage payments and continue making them until we get you paid off, the mortgage paid off. Is that something we can do, or is this just a non-starter? Are you just going to let it go back to the bank? Boy, that was a nice alternate choice, wasn't it? It was either you do it my way, or are you going to let it go back to the bank? Which one, sir? You do have options. I'm only one of them. All right. So you might feel a little bit more clear about it. So knowing that it's just a simple question, if they're saying yes to it now, okay, great. Get that purchase and sale agreement out. There's a disclosure that you can have too. I'll give it to you if you want to know, everybody. It's at my website, realestatewholesalersclub.com. There's a tab that has all of that in there, and it's all free. You don't have to even put in your email. But here is a disclosure. Okay. I understand and acknowledge I'm selling the property referenced above, subject to. Okay. This is just to make sure that you're extremely clear about what subject to is with the homeowner, and that they know you're taking over the house and you're going to be catching up their mortgage payments and making the mortgage payment. So realestatewholesalerclub.com is where you can go and get my basic set, my basic kit. Okay. There is not a grant deed, or not a grant deed. I'm sorry. There's not a quit claim deed in that package. That's because you need to go get a quit claim deed from the internet somewhere for your area, blah, blah, whatever. Okay. Just get one. It's if it came down between me finding a motivated homeowner today that said, "Hey, I've got no interest in this property. I'm walking away by the end of the month." You better believe Mr. Justin's going to find a purchase and sale agreement with some subject to words on it and a quit claim deed someplace. And I'm going to spend my afternoon over there with a mobile notary getting his John Hancock and owning a property. I'm going to buy a house tonight for free. Okay. That's what subject to is a lot. All right. It's not free, but you know, you're not going to get the loan. So it's a beautiful thing. So let's role play again. Let's switch it up. Does anybody else want to role play? Nana, maybe Rob, Tim, John, anybody? Rico, it's good to see you. Anybody want to replay or role play? Lee, you can role play with me again if you want. Anybody? Let's role play this subject to conversation again, and let's do it in guts fashion. All right. Does everybody know what I mean by guts fashion? All right, let me pull up what guts fashion means here, and then I'll share screens with that too, so you can see, and we'll follow along a little bit. We'll role play. We're going to role play our conversation with homeowners, and it's going to be subject to by the guts formula. And here's the guts formula: agenda, qualifications, closing. All right. So who wants to role play with me? And let's go through a full conversation if we can, or at least let's get up to the motivation level. Anybody? You all bored with subject to already? You want to role play something else? We can. I don't care. It's up to you. We just got off on it today. I don't know why. Nana inspired us. Nana inspired us to talk about subject to. So we can role play subject to. We can role play something else. Anybody got something else they want to role play? We can role play that. Remember, we started this talking about how guts would role play anything. What are you guys working on? Working on something different, Joe? You working on something different, Rob? I'll tell you what, I had a conversation this week with a student about a house that is being offered by the homeowner, and this homeowner wants to offer it contract for deed, and he wants 20% down, and the house so the payment will be about $11.50 a month, and then it could be rented for about $19.50. So there's a contract for deed. That's a homeowner that wants contract for deed. What does that mean? Somebody tell me, what's that mean, contract for deed?
Title would not transfer it until paid off.
Yeah, I'm not going to be the deed holder until I fulfill the contract. Okay. So the contract might actually say that if I've made successful payments for 3 years, then the deed transfers. It might say that, or it might have a balloon payment of 5 years or 10 years, or I don't know, but there's an agreement that has an installment plan in it. And that installment plan now is the mortgage payment that I'm going to be making every month. And it might also require that I pay the taxes and the insurance in addition to, like, an escrow payment. It might require other things, but a contract for deed is exactly what it says. This is a contract. When you've completed the contract, you get the deed. It's for the deed. This contract is for the deed when the contract is fulfilled. Okay. This is different than a subject to, right? So a subject to agreement, we're not going to be making any agreements to do any installments and waiting on the deed. Okay. Tim John says a contract for deed is like how you finance a car. You don't get the pink slip till it's paid off. Until then, they could come repo the car anytime they want if you don't make your payment. That's a contract for deed. Now, see, this is a homeowner that's not as motivated. He is not a 10. He's more like a 6. And he's flexible. And he's savvy. The interest rate, remember on the deal example, he wants to do the fair market value. It's close to fair market value. So he's not off on purchase price, but he wants to do a 5.5% interest loan, 20% down, contract for deed. Now, immediately it doesn't look like a deal, does it? But then when you look at the house, you figure out that, hey, the 5.5% interest rate is $1,150, but this property where it sits would rent for $1,950. So would it make sense for me, if I'm an investor, to consider doing this contract for deed property, put 20% down, or maybe source a buyer, an investor buyer that can put 20% down, who's willing to cash flow, $800 a month minus his expenses, which might be $200 or $300 a month. So, I don't know. So he might be cash flowing $500 a month, really. But still, would I be able to find somebody? This was a $250,000 house. Could I find somebody that would put $55,000, $60,000 into this property to cash flow $500-$600 a month? Is it possible?
Well, sure.
An investor buyer is out there?
What's the alternative for any buyer right now? Almost 8% mortgage. And to qualify for FHA, to get anything less than 20% down, they're going to tear apart your life. It's brutal. The loan industry is brutal. So on the surface, 20% down seems high, but at 5.5%, that's no different than going to get a mortgage and buying the rate down from 7.75 to 5.5% in today's market. So it's actually pretty acceptable. And if the house is paid off, he's just acting as a bank and he's offering a great rate, but he's offering that great rate with the heavy down payment, which is perfectly acceptable. So for a lot of buyers, it's a pretty attractive deal with that monthly payment.
For retail buyer or for an investor buyer, because of the rental value monthly for an investor buyer mainly. Okay, there's not a lot of equity to be bought here. There's really none much. You're giving him full price. He's offering to be the banker for you at 5.5% interest if you put 20% down, which happens to be about $54,000 in this case. If you tack on an assignment fee to cover the wholesaler guy in the middle, and he doesn't get too greedy and he only wants to make 5 or 10, this guy's going to invest $65,000. He's going to make $850 a month gross cash flow. I don't know, man. I think that's pretty decent in this world that we live in as far as ROI goes. I mean, that's instant ROI every month.
It's about 11%.
Where could someone put their money and get that kind of instant annuitized type monthly return besides real estate? I don't know. Maybe there are a lot of places and I'm just too ignorant. But I think this looks like it could be a fitting deal. Okay. Could be. Good to see you. Thanks for stopping in, man. Tim John had to drop off. Okay. Good to see you, brother. Okay, so that's contract for deed. So let's role play that for a second since we've got 8 minutes left. We already role played subject 2. How would what would we say to bring up if just this same example, if you're gonna bring it up to the homeowner, what are you gonna say? I want to bring up him being the banker. He's not a 10 on the motivation scale. He's more like a 6. I want to see if this fits. What do I say? Here's what I say. And everybody, you can commit this one to memory too if you want. Mr. Homeowner, would you accept your asking price as a small down payment and the rest of your equity in monthly installments? transferring the deed to us after a period of time. What do you think? It's an okay setup question. It's an okay setup question. Mr. Homeowner, would you accept your asking price as a small down payment? Now, in this case, it's not that small, but it's not insane either, but it's pretty high. Ideally, he's not going to want 20%, but Mr. Homeowner, will you accept your asking price as a small down payment and the rest of your equity in monthly payments or monthly installments? Mr. Homeowner, will you accept your asking price as a small down payment and the rest of your equity in monthly payments, transferring the deed after a period of time? Right? Okay. So commit that one to memory, and now you'll have contract for deed down. Because contract for deed and subject to are not so vastly different that you can't grab both of them together in the same day. You can, all right? Now let's talk about paperwork on a contract for deed real quick. Anybody got any advice on paperwork? Because I don't know, what do I need? Do I need a purchase and sale agreement like a subject to again, or what do I got to have? Anybody know?
Well, Justin, let's role play. You just asked the question. Ask the question again, and I'll be the homeowner that doesn't really understand the paperwork.
Yeah, that's great, Mr. Homeowner. What about this? I like your asking price is okay. Would you be willing to accept that as a small down payment and the rest of your equity and in monthly installments, and you transfer the deed after a period of time?
Okay.
That's
Well,
something we could talk about, or maybe not.
Well, it doesn't sound bad, but explain to me exactly what that looks like. What does that look like in black and white?
Okay, so are you asking about paperwork?
Yeah, I mean, how would that deal work, Justin? I mean, talk about, you said the deed, everything. I mean, it sounds great. There's equity, but walk me through so I can explain to my wife how this would work and what the steps would be. So lay out what kind of terms you're talking about.
Okay, great. Yeah. Well, we would provide a reasonable down payment, say 5%, and then we would make equal monthly installment payments to you, much like you have been doing to the bank or mortgage company. So you would be the bank or mortgage company for me for a period of time. And then after, let's say, 24 or 36 months of successful payments, then you would feel comfortable to transfer the deed at that time. Is that something that makes more sense, or maybe not?
Well, it does. I understand being the bank and holding the title to the property until you made enough payments to, protect myself. Are we talking about a stack of paperwork like when you go to close on your loan? When that was like 2 inches thick, we talking about paperwork like that I'm going to have an attorney look at? Or is this something that you guys have streamlined and you've got something a little bit more simpler for me to look at it?
Okay, so I want to pause for a second, because it's kind of state specific with this installment for deed offer. Like, for example, it's called different things in different places even. So like, I think in Florida, it's called installment for deed. In a lot of states, it's called contract for deed. In other states, it's called land contract. In other places, it's called something different even. And so the paperwork will be different in different places. And you really will want an attorney to help with this process, or at least a good closing agent attorney, somebody that's going to help you get this closed up and recorded properly. Okay. Because even though the deed isn't being transferred, you're still going to want to record some things at the courthouse, and you're going to want to do this officially. So where you always want to begin with a homeowner is you always want to begin with some kind of simple purchase and sale agreement. All right. So what I would do is I would send over, actually, I've got a property information sheet. So I'm going to get more information from the guy and make sure I've got enough information. But I'm going to send over some type of a purchase and sale agreement that outlines, at least the terms of our conversation. And then I'm going to turn that with the information I've collected over to my title attorney, and I'm going to have them draft what I need, because if I don't, I'm liable to make a mistake on this, because it's going to require a few documents, everybody. It's going to require a purchase and sale agreement. It's going to require a promissory note. It's going to require an installment agreement. It's going to require a memorandum be filed at a courthouse. Okay. So these are all things that, yes, you could probably do them yourself, but you don't want to. All right. So that's my advice on the contract for deed. Lee, do you want to add anything to that or correct anything I might have said that was wrong?
No, that's actually what I was getting at, is some kind of statement saying, look, yes, I understand, Mr. Homeowner, this is a little bit of a process, but I've got some basic paperwork that will outline the terms, how much we're going to put down, how much monthly payment is, and I want to make sure that you're clear on those terms. It's just basic paperwork, and once those terms are agreed to, then we take that agreement to the attorney to draft it up so everything is legal, explained correctly, and all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed. That's what I was getting at, was you sending over a basic paperwork that's not a 2-inch thick thing that someone has to spend the next week. So, but yeah, that's what I was getting at.
So I can get, like, most states have a realtor sanctioned agreement that you might be able to swipe off the internet and use if you need something quick. And a lot of times it either has a financing section in it where you say the owner is financing this property themselves, owner finance, or it might have a section 2 that says, no, owner finance, or, he's getting a mortgage, and this is mortgage information. So there might be already in that agreement a paragraph where you can just fill in some of this to do a contract for deed, purchase and sale agreement, to kind of lock in the seller before you take all of this to a title attorney and have them do, the promissory note, and have them do the installment agreement, and have them draw up the memorandum and whatever else may be necessary for your locale. So you might be able to just swipe a realtor's contract and use it. In some states, they don't have the owner finance paragraph in that realtor agreement. In some states, they have an addendum or it's an add-on. And so there's like a second page that's called a financing addendum. All right. So you might find one of those in your area, and it's not included in the verbiage of the actual purchase and sale agreement. You would want the purchase and sale agreement filled out, and then you would also want this financing addendum. All right. So again, not complicated. You just have to turn your brain on and be a little creative and independent and go, like, I'm going to go search this out where I live. And then I'm going to get my seller to ink it, because remember, the commitment is everything. And then I'm going to take that and I'm going to have my attorney or the title closing people really set this up right. Okay. Great advice today, everybody, from Lee and Joe. Great role plays. Nana, thank you for inspiring us today. Thanks for bringing your baby too. And Tim John, thanks for being here. We love you guys. I hope you got something out of today. RealestateWholesalerSclub.com. If you want any of the documents that I referred to today, they're all free. RealestateWholesalerSclub.com. Okay, I'll talk to everyone again next time. Thanks for being here at Role Play. We'll see you later.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye, everybody.